thank you so much for joining us today. This is the 63rd episode of Propy's weekly webinar on how to run your business online, and in particular, acing the real estate market game and winning every time. We are so thrilled to have a guest today is Terrence Murphy. He's a CEO, broker, and founder of TM5 Properties. He's a creator and serial entrepreneur, so we are so thrilled to have you today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be on the show and look forward to the conversation.
And I'm Gwyneth Iredale, and I'm here with Lisa Fettner. We are your hosts today. Some of the things we hope to learn today from you, transferable skills for real estate and developing a plan that brings growth, why teamwork is imperative, and any other gems of information you'd like to pass along for entrepreneurs and our broker owner and agent audience today.
That's perfect. Yeah, I'm passionate about it. I'm obviously passionate about teams. I'm passionate about real estate, and I just love seeing things grow and succeed and prosper.
And I noticed on your website that passion really comes through. The same traits that you saw on the football field transfer easily. The passion you mentioned, the work ethic, dedication, the hard work, loyalty, and the desire to succeed, and of course the knowledge. And my goodness, you must have collected a lot of knowledge. You started your first company in your 20s, right?
Yes,
26-year-old, and you've sort of followed a path that takes you through real estate related businesses, and now your real estate team and company is in the top producing 10% agents across the entire country. Is that right?
Yeah, great job of summarizing it. I'm top 1%.
1%. Oh,
yeah,
goodness.
It's all good. But yeah, and so our brokers that we started from scratch, TM5, we just hit $1 billion in sales in less than 8.5 years.
Wow.
In a small college town. But yeah, we have 20 companies now that we're leading and running or a part of, and they're all under the Terrence Murphy Companies brand now.
That's amazing. And you just fairly recently made a switch to EXP.
Yes,
so that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, we merged our independent with EXP just because we saw the value proposition, the opportunity to provide some amazing split plans, but rev share and stock options and healthcare for our agents. But we also, for us, we wanted to scale and grow outside of College Station. And so now we're actually partnering with agents in all 50 states and in 15 countries.
Wow. Yes, I saw that you have plans for expansion and even outside of the US. Is that right?
15 countries right now. We're working on in South Africa, Mexico, and in Colombia right now.
How did you achieve such stellar growth in such a short time?
I think the biggest thing is it's kind of that it started with my mom. She's really the foundation of who I am. She was a single mom and she worked, multiple jobs, but she was a very studious human being. Like she loved reading, she loved typing. And so she loved numbers. And so I kind of got those similar characteristics. I love numbers. I'm very creative, but I'm a type A person. Like I'm a driver. Like I want to get things accomplished. And I didn't know that I would be an entrepreneur. I knew I'd be an athlete. But even in college, I was a 3-time academic all conference. So I wasn't just, scoring touchdowns, but I was on the all academic team 3 out of my 4 years in college. So I've taken it serious and it's translated into entrepreneurship. So that type A personality along with the schoolwork is translated really well for me as an entrepreneur.
What sparked you to real estate? What do you love about real estate?
Yeah, I think real estate is one of, even back, I guess when I got into the industry at 23, the average realtor was 55 years old. And so it was kind of a second career, third career opportunity for most people. But when I got in, and now you're kind of starting to see a lot of the millennials, Gen X are starting to get in, but it's just a great opportunity to impact people, to whatever work you put in, you get to see immediate results. And I love that, where it's not really politics. And it's like, hey, if I put in the work and I'm consistent and I bring value to my clients, I'm going to see the results.
Yeah, absolutely. And, real estate has undergone such a change. We've had the pandemic in the last year. How did you have to adapt and pivot your business to, what did you do differently? What skills did you bring to just being adaptive and flexible?
That's a great question. We actually were already seeing ourselves as an innovative company because we were a startup, right? So right out of the gate, we had no playbook, we had no franchise. We just kind of built it from scratch. And so by doing that, we were already really innovative. But I'll tell you specifically what we saw, and it's one of the main drivers of us partnering with EXP is the way that they had their cloud-based brokerage set up, where you can do everything within their world. Virbela, I know Stanford University, IBM, they're using that university program now. So we saw that opportunity. Obviously, everything's going towards e-sign. And then being able to have a cloud-based brokerage where you don't need brick and mortar was so important for us.
Got it. What things did you do during the pandemic that you think you'll keep doing going forward?
I started a podcast. So, because I had a lot of people reaching out to me, just, they heard my story kind of started circulating and they wanted more content. And I was trying to keep up on social media, trying to message everybody back. And my wife was like, this isn't sustainable. Like, she's like, you got to figure out a way to get your content out in a more scalable manner. So I started the Real Estate Entrepreneur podcast with Terrence Murphy. So I'll keep doing that. I'm actually getting ready to roll out my coaching business to just help realtors compete. It's so competitive and tough in this industry. And I remember when I started at the brokers that I started at before I started TM5, I just felt like I was on an island. And I just remember saying, I'm willing to do the work. I just didn't know what to do. And so I've created, because there's a book that everybody tells you to go read, Millionaire Real Estate Agent, which I think is a great book. But that's like 5, 6, 7 levels up. But if I'm a brand new agent, I'm not a millionaire real estate agent yet. So that's one of those things that I said, okay, what can I create to help the new agent or the agent who's trying to kind of reinvigorate their career? And that's where I'm getting ready to start the Terrence Murphy coaching, where I'm coaching agents on how to scale their business.
Excellent. So that's on terrencemurphy.com /podcasts. Glad I have my glasses on. Yeah.
I mean, you're the ultimate. One of the things that I was so impressed in prepping for this interview is that I would say you're kind of the ultimate pivoter. And some of the interviews that you talked about were just about perseverance and sticking to it and moving forward. And for new agents, how does that translate into honing your real estate skills? And what were some of the most important things that you took from your football life to your real estate life?
That's great. Time blocking right out of the gate. I think a lot of times people get into the real estate sales industry or real estate in general thinking, oh, I got freedom. I'm an independent contractor. I'm gonna work for myself. And it's a quote that I take from Adam Hergenrother. He's an amazing agent. He says, the freedom of real estate that we are looking for when we get into the sales industry, that's the freedom that hurts a lot of us, right? Because we get in and we don't manage our calendars. Our clients just call us at 10 o'clock at night or 6 a.m. on a Sunday, and we just go running like we're not running a business. And my ultimate goal for the real estate industry is to bring the whole industry up from a technology standpoint, from a professionalism standpoint, and from a competent standpoint. Because I always say competence breeds confidence. You can't be confident if you don't have the competence. And the competence comes with just buckling down, reading the books, studying the contracts, really understanding your scripts and negotiations. And that's not fun. There's nothing fun about that. But if you do it consistently, that's when you scale and you're able to be very competent when you're dealing with your clients.
Yeah, I mean, I think people see the $1 Million Listing TV shows and they think, oh, it's so easy. I think I'll be a real estate agent. And in reality, it's nothing like that at all.
Well, the NAR statistic says that 50% of agents who get into the industry after year 1 are out of the industry. The 50% to make it to year 2, another 50% drops off. So by year 3, you're talking, 75% don't make it to year 3. So it's very competitive. And I think there's a lot of misnomers out there about it. And that's why I coach my agents. So in the beginning, we were known for per person production. So the average agent closes 8 to 10 deals a year. My brokerage, TM5, when we started it and when we, before we merged with EXP, we averaged 38.6 transactions per person. So
Wow,
our
that's
per
amazing.
person production was all about making sure that everybody on the team was producing. And obviously, there's numbers up and down, but we really wanted to focus on production.
Yeah.
You've been an amazing entrepreneur. Is there somebody you look up to for mentorship? Somebody else that you follow?
Yeah. So what I do is, she said it best earlier. I pivot, right? And so in order to be able to pivot, I have to study other people. And I actually don't have a direct mentor. I really just pray about things, and I say, like, I pray about it. God gives me the ideas, and I just kind of take them and go execute them. But what I do is I get inspiration from other entrepreneurs, but I don't really have a mentor. I really just pray about it, read, study, listen to podcasts. And at one point, I read right at 40 books in 16 months when I first got into the industry, just because I
Wow.
was just really trying to educate myself on the different perspectives.
Wow, you are a type A high D on the disc profile.
I'm off the charts, ID, competitive and sense of urgency.
Yep, yep. Well, that's great. That's really important, especially in this market. How are you dealing with your agents in this market in your area, which I think is seen almost across the nation? Multiple offers, low inventory. Do you have any special tactics
I
to
do. I
share?
do. I think the biggest tactic and the biggest focus that I've been saying for years when I'm training and when I'm talking on podcasts, the real estate industry is all about inventory. And if you know how to get listings, you will always have an opportunity to succeed. So whether the market is up or down, think about if we put a house on the market and it gets 10 offers, there's going to be 8 losers in that situation, but there's going to be 2 winners. One, the buyer's agent who has the winning offer, and then the other person who we know is the listing agent who will always win. So focusing on lead generation tactics and really building a business on listings first is what gives you leverage. And it's why I've been able to consistently do all my other ventures, but still be, top 1% of agents in the United States for practically 10 years in a row, because I've learned how to leverage listings and technology.
So do you use technology to get those listings in the first place?
Yeah, so we have a couple of strategies. The CRM, people always say, well, what CRM do you use? And we know the saying, whichever one you would.
Whichever one you use.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is we're really big on referrals, and we're really big on when we get a listing, we go to the nth degree to market it and let everybody know all the extra things that we're doing to sell the property that other agents aren't doing in my market. And I think just that alone is what attracts people, especially on the high end. I actually just closed my 49th $1 million transaction personally.
Congratulations.
I'm excited about that. So, because I'm in College Station, I'm in a smaller market. I'm not in Beverly
Yeah.
Hills or New York or San Diego. So that's something that I take a lot of pride in.
Well, to have high productivity and a high average sale price, that's just pretty amazing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Every sale is just as difficult, whether it's a $200,000 sale versus $1 million sale. And I think providing that same level of service at all levels is equally important.
Yes, because, we all have to start somewhere in life.
Right.
And I always tell my clients, no matter who you are or where you come from, you're going to get treated with 5-star service. And I don't just talk about it, I make sure that they get that. And so we have wow moments throughout the transaction. That's what we call them, where we say, okay, where can we go over and beyond versus just showing up, giving them keys at closing, or only giving them a gift at closing. So throughout the process, we send them these little wow moments to remind them that we're appreciative of their business. And I think that's what people take notice of, is not only negotiating and those things, but just letting them know that they're valued. Whether it's a $200,000 house or a $12 million property, it doesn't matter. They're still getting the same service from us.
That's really important. I've seen a lot of feedback on some of these Facebook groups that because it's a seller's market, sometimes the listing agent drops the ball, or it's sort of a sense of entitlement or something that right now they are not being as professional, and that having that process where you treat you put your client right up to the top, and you also treat the other agents with respect as well. That in this market, they're going to remember, each agent, the buyer's agent is going to remember exactly the how communicative and transparent the listing agent was, and then of course it all comes back to you with how you treat your client, who will be a client for life. And maybe, what is it, 7 homes get transacted in the lifetime of a client. They buy and sell about 7 homes.
Yep.
Yeah. So as far as retention, do you have any special tricks? So we talked about the close, and you have closing gifts, and you have a process. What about retaining clients? Do you have any tips on that?
Yes, I do. I always say the first thing you got to do to retain clients is do what you said you were going to do. Literally, that's like the foundation, right? So if I tell you I'm gonna call you today at 5:30 and I can't be there at 5:30, send a text, send an email, send a phone call. Hey, I'm running. Whatever you say you're gonna do, just make sure you do it. If you're gonna list a property and get drone photos, get drone photos. I'm so blown away at agents who go in and pitch, but like you said, because houses are selling so fast, they're like, oh, well, we don't need to do all this other stuff because we already got contracts. It's like, no, go ahead and do the drone footage. Go ahead and finish what you said. So I think starting with that first is the foundation. And then retention on the backside is just making them feel valued. I think people will always remember how you treated them in the heat of the battle. Like when it gets to an emotional negotiation, did you lose it on them, or did you get unmotivated, or whatever it is? And so just being very consistent, and then being an advisor, right? I always tell my agents as I'm training them, we got to be like doctors, right? Doctors may feel an emotion of news that they got to bring to the family, but they don't come out of the surgery room with tears running down their face. They get themselves together and they're an advisor. And so we always got to be that in a very hot market and a very slow market, because both of them are the extreme, right? If you sell someone's house in the first week, they're like, man, did you price it right? But if you don't sell it in the first 6 months, they're like, are you doing your job? So either way, you got to make sure that you're being professional and consistent.
It's kind of a high say-do factor, and that develops the trust, transparency and trust. Yeah,
For sure.
yeah. Lisa, did you have some questions?
Yeah. How do you think the industry is going to change over the next few years? I mean, we're seeing this crazy market. We know we have inventory issues. What do you see some of the trends that you think are going to be happening in the industry that agents need to plan and prepare for?
There's three points that I've been coaching my team on. One, new builder homes. Obviously, inventory is low. There's a statistic, because I am a builder. National Association of Home Builders put out a stat that said almost right at 60% of builders right now are doing cost escalation in their contract. So that means they may be under contract at 500,000, but they're coming back and saying, hey, my new number is 550. And they didn't get an upgrade, they didn't get a change order, so they're doing cost escalations. We really need to understand what that looks like so we can advise our buyers. The other one would be technology. If you don't adapt to the technology that's coming down the pipe, there's a lot of billions of dollars are going into prop tech, fintech, which is financial technology, property management technology, and into the real estate space. And we got to be ready to adapt, because if you don't, you will become a dinosaur and you won't be able to keep up. And then the last thing I would say is teams. If you look at the real estate transaction, and you'll hear me say this a lot, we're not competing with the real estate industry anymore. We're competing with other industries. So we're competing with Amazon. We're competing with Uber. We're competing with things that it's the microwave industry, like they want it now. And it's all about information. And so people want things quicker. And as an individual agent, there's 150 plus tasks per transaction, right? Data entry, put out the lockbox, put out the flyers, schedule photos, schedule inspections, and the list goes on. If you're doing that as a one-off agent, that's fine if you're doing 10 deals a year, but if you want to scale your business, it's not realistic to do it long-term because you'll burn out. So you got to be thinking about, how do I scale with the team? Either start a team or get on a team and then create specialists within that team.
Gosh, those are some excellent points you just made. And also the new feeling of immediacy that, they can snap their fingers, and the instant gratification. They can order something on Amazon. It really does put a new spin on a very long and tedious process. You can't just snap your fingers in most cases. The buying process, it's emotional. There's so many pieces where there's room for error if something is missed. So it sounds like you've got a really tight ship there. You're running it with a lot of processes that it sounds like you developed your own processes. Is that right?
Yeah, we developed our own processes. And once again, I'm kind of piecemealed together from EOS, which is a book called Traction, Entrepreneur Operating System. We kind of customized and built them on our own. But the thing I focused on is what Starbucks has done, really curating an experience. Whether you go to Starbucks in West Coast, Texas, New York, you get a similar experience. And that's what we're creating through our merger with EXP and how we're scaling and partnering with agents around the nation.
Wow. That's brilliant. You really do have a clear brand, don't you?
Yes, ma'am.
That you've curated yourselves, that you've honed, and also the wraparound services of your other companies. What a brilliant network of companies that you have, that you work with. You have a builder company, so you've got the pipeline of new construction, planned communities. You've got other services, and now you say you're coaching as well.
Yeah, my coaching business will start in a couple weeks.
Wow.
Because I was doing it already. I was coaching the agents at my brokerage, but I just was coaching people that have reached out to me on social media. Once again, my wife sat me down and said, that's not really
There's a business here.
Yeah.
There's some income we're missing, lost opportunity.
And time,
Wow.
you know, she said.
And time, really, probably, yeah.
Yeah, she was like, your time's so valuable at this point. You can't keep doing it for free. So that's
Yeah.
where we're headed with that. It's just helping people figure out what we figured out. And that's how we were able to get to $1 billion in sales in 8.5 years.
So is there information on terrencemurphy.com that people can find out about your coaching?
Yes, ma'am. TerrenceMurphy.com. And really, probably the one that's more updated is my Instagram page. It's just Terrence, Terrence, Realtor, Realtor. And that's my, I guess, handle on Instagram. And so a lot is going on there. But between those two, they'll hear about it or see it.
Great. I think just one last question from me, and I'll let Lisa wrap up. Where is the industry going? You kind of hinted at the iBuyers, right? Where do you see the industry going if you put on your look in your crystal ball?
More technology, more private equity. You're going to start seeing more billions of dollars flooding into our industry to try to solve more issues. And it's time. I mean, you got to think, as of like 6, 7, 8 years ago, we were still faxing contracts. Like, it is time to move forward. It's time to innovate. And really, if we can get the whole industry to adapt to the things that are coming down the pipe, it's going to make it a better experience for not only the customers, but for the agents. So I think technology and equity is coming our way. And then I think that going back to that last thing, you got to really be thinking about, if you want to be in this industry long term, you got to figure out the team model, because that's what's going to help you succeed going forward.
Wow. And we're right there with you. Propy is visionary in what we're doing to smooth over the transaction, to try to make it as easy as possible and also as transparent, so we can build that trust that the agent has with their clients and other agents. So we're right there and trying to achieve the same sort of things.
And I would love to beta anything you guys need help on, just getting some user experience. If I can partner in any way with you guys, I would love to do that also. We can talk about
that's
that.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being
Yeah,
open,
absolutely.
taking a look.
We'll reach out and do that. So I think we're coming up on 1:27. Any final thoughts for our agents out there who want to grow their business and succeed like you did?
Yes, ma'am. I would say, as my final thoughts, kind of like I've talked about on my podcast, there's a balance between being inspired and taking action. And I would say, anybody listening today, be inspired. Like, yes, be motivated by what you see on HGTV and on the Millionaire Real Estate Agent Show. Whatever gets you out of bed, great. But know at some point, you're going to have to own that and take your own action and be consistent. And so I would just say, persevere, be consistent, be inspired, but take action.
Wow. And you sure have been a model for
that. I'm completely inspired. Thank you.
Yes. And you can see your heart. Your heart is really there to help people and businesses succeed. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you guys for the opportunity, for sure. And like I said, any way I can help you with Propy, y'all just let me know.
All right. Well, thank you.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us. Good luck on your coaching program. We're excited to learn more about that and see what you do, and good luck on the next corporate expansion after that.
Will do. Thank y'all
Another
again.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. And this will conclude our live stream and also our recording of the Proppy webinar. See you next week at same time, same place with a